Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the FearFans podcast. I'm your host. Nick just appeared for a second. Here.
Oh, can you see me?
Yeah, what did you just do?
I don't know. I didn't touch anything.
That's odd. Yeah, Nick's been having technical issues on his end, but yeah, we'll just work our way through it.
I'm just gonna ask, like for all those who are watching right now, can you guys see me right now? Because I know Don said he could see me, but for whatever reason on my end, uh, I cannot see myself. It's the screen is well, the box is gray, and it just says offline. So can anybody in the chat see me right now?
Here.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, Santi. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just some glitch.
It must be okay. So as long as you and everybody else can see me, that's what's important. But yeah, I think it must be some issue on my end for whatever reason.
Yeah, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get started. So this over the past couple, so pretty eventful past couple of weeks. It was my birthday yesterday, and let's see, we saw the original Evil Dead in theaters a couple few days before that, and also we of course saw the latest film from the director of Evil Dead Rise, Lee Cronin, which is Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and wow, where do you even begin with this one?
Oh, really? Oh, just one more thing before we get started. Don, happy belated birthday. Hope you had a good day yesterday.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a nice little dinner I had with the family, so it was great.
That's good. That's
Oh
good to hear.
yes, Santi, I appreciate that. I love seeing all the birthday wishes you guys left for me in the comments and on social media. Really, truly appreciate it all. Yeah. So today we are covering like I said, Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and they entitled it Lee Cronin's The Mummy so that there was no confusion with other versions, such as the 1932 original with Boris Karloff, or the 1999 horror action adventure remake with Brendan Fraser, or the 2017 attempt to like a reboot attempt to create like a dark universe, which sadly did not come to pass.
Right. Yeah, at this point, to be clear on things, this new Mummy movie, it's not a remake. It's essentially a re-imaging. So essentially, it's basically an original story. It's all new. The only thing that keeps in context with the previous movies is that parts of the movie, yes, does take place in Egypt, but that's all. Everything else is different.
Yeah, at the beginning it takes place in Egypt, but the rest of the movie takes place in Albuquerque.
Well, there's still some parts throughout the movie that still, for a
Well,
few minutes, does take place in Egypt. But yes,
yeah,
yes,
that's what I'm saying. For the most part, for the rest of the film, it takes place in Albuquerque.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And Santi actually this time, I mean, other than one pyramid, it actually does not have anything to do with the Great Pyramids. I mean, there still is a pyramid involved, but it's not involved in like the more famous Egyptian pyramids that we're familiar with.
Oh yes, and yeah, because yeah, like the previous installments of the Mummy pretty much focused a on how a mummified high priest Imhotep was resurrected accidentally and went on to do some horrific deeds. But no, this is completely something else as far as story.
For starters, yes, this does not to give a more clearer understanding is that certainly because again this is not a remake. This is not involving like a high priest or someone that had committed a violation of the Egyptian law, if you will, where they're mummified and then thousands of years later they're resurrected. No, it has nothing to do with that at all. It's actually something completely different. The entity may have existed for thousands of years, but it's not somebody that had died thousands of years previously and has been resurrected through an Egyptian, curse or a spell or whatever.
Right. Yeah, this there's a lot of themes of necromancy and demonic possession in this, and yeah, this when you think about it, the story's formula is pretty much the same as Evil Dead.
It really is, and also because I'm just going to throw this out because I know not everyone always knows what the term necromancy is. what necromancy in this case, that's basically where you have worshippers that are basically summoning like either a ghost or a ghost or demon and sending it into a corpse. And there are many reasons why they would do that because necromancy does exist in the it's hard to say if you can call it devil worshipping or definitely something involving negative energy though for the most part. But that's what necromancy is, to be clear on this.
Yeah, I think your mic just got quiet a second for Nick.
Yeah. Oh wait, hang on.
Yeah, I was about to say something's what was going on with your mic.
Okay, anything else or
Yeah, you're good now.
okay? It's I don't know what's happening. It's like as if my laptop is lagging or something. I don't know what's going on.
But yeah, I pretty much heard like it came what you everything you said came through. It's just that it was a little quieter, but I'm sure it's audible.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, what I will say, what I was just saying for the very last part is yes, because I know not everyone knows what necromancy is, but that's basically what it is. To be clear on things.
Oh yes, I mean we've seen necromancy depicted in fiction a lot. Like it plays a role in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it does. But like I said, it's actually a practice that does exist in the real world as well. So, some of that I guess you kind of say that explains why, again, from a paranormal perspective, why some paranormal entities, if you will, sometimes appear almost zombie-like because they're taking possession of a corpse. Which it's probably, put it this way, it's probably as close as you would ever see to a true living undead zombie because it's not truly being resurrected, it's only just being possessed by an entity. So essentially that corpse is just nothing more than a shell that the spirit is using, and that's kind of like what you're seeing in Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
That's right. And the most disturbing aspect of it is that it focuses on a young girl.
Yeah, that's another big direction because, like, in the original Mummy and the one from the late '90s, the Mummy in those cases like was always a man. Although, when you look back, also the one from the early '30s, because they made the sequels, of course, they did eventually add a female mummy, like kind of like what they did with Bride of Frankenstein. So, but this time they took it an entirely different direction, dealing with a young girl this time, which that was a pretty original thought. As dark as it is, you got to give credit. That was a new idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. This version of the Mummy is definitely, without question, the darkest.
Yeah, it is. It really, and it's not one to be underestimated with.
Yep, it's definitely not for the faint of heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the audiences, there were definitely some gross out moments, and I mean, I know that you had to step out for a moment, Nick, at one point.
Yeah, because it was just not gonna lie, it was the first time where I actually kind of felt a little bit sick. And normally I love gory stuff, and yes, this was gory too, but it wasn't even the gore that really bothered me. It was just there were other disgusting scenes, if you know what I mean, because you're still dealing with a decaying, basically almost like a partially decaying corpse. And unfortunately, some of the other friends that were with us when we went to see, I don't know how it was possible. They thought it was hilarious. Like, this is not funny at all. Like, this is just awful.
Yeah, the fact that all this focuses on a young girl who had been missing for 8 years and has come back like possessed by an evil entity, I don't see how that's funny at all.
It's not.
Yeah, it isn't exactly.
Because also, let's face it too. I mean, maybe not in that same direction, but as we all know, there have been a lot of kids that sometimes, were missing for years and may have eventually been returned, but it's there's just nothing funny about it.
Yeah, this movie definitely runs a parallel or a theme to that.
It really does. It does send that reminder of definitely be watching out for your kids.
Exactly.
You never know who else could be watching them too.
Yeah, that's true. This pretty much shows pretty much every parent's worst nightmare. Like a kid who trusted the wrong person, who was groomed and then into trusting, and then is abducted.
Yep.
And the dad witnessed the abduction and was unable to stop it. And then
Due
8
to a
years,
sandstorm.
Yeah, because of a sandstorm. That's right. And
That's another thing too, to keep with the Egyptian theme. You have to have a sandstorm in a mummy movie like that.
oh yes, and what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I feel like let's see. I feel like this movie like really mimics also not just Evil Dead, but also to some degree The Exorcist.
Yeah, well, and that's it should be noted because even Bloody Disgusting has made a confirmation on this. Believe it or not, in spite that this is an original storyline,
Hmm.
and also it's not only just because Lee Cronin directed it, but they have officially confirmed that the Mummy is in the same universe and it's in canon with Evil Dead.
I read about
So
that.
yeah, so whether this entity that possesses is a deadite, I'm not sure if it's that's current. I mean, exactly if it's a deadite that's possessing as of right now, it's not known. But they did say on a website that so Evil Dead now officially has a mummy film. So that's also probably another reason why it's not a remake either. Is they wanted to try to like fit in, pay a nod to the Evil Dead franchise, and you do see a couple of nods and tributes to the franchise. I mean, of course, that's another thing too. To keep up with the same theme with Evil Dead Rise, this movie certainly does not have any humor.
No,
So
no,
it keeps to the more serious side of things.
it definitely does. Oh wait, here's what Santi said: Spider-Man villain Sandman would be the only one to do a. Oh yeah, maybe it was Flint Marko who could have made that sandstorm.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was him. He was involved.
I knew it.
Damn. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there. But I don't know how that comment came back up. Let's see. But yeah, this also, like you've been saying, it focuses on like the whole traumatic impact about a missing child. Yeah, like the kind of effect it has on the family, and also how a child's never the same when returned, if returned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and this
because I
and
mean,
it definitely shows the more of the darker aspect too. I mean, obviously, maybe not exactly like how most kids when they're returned or they're brought back. Maybe not exactly the same way, but this is probably as close as you can ever get to like going to the real deep end when a kid
yeah,
is back and things are a lot more different than that kid was years ago.
yeah, that's true. It's like you hear all sorts of these stories, like horror stories that I hate to even think about. Like where child abduction happens, human trafficking. Oh,
Yeah, it's awful.
yeah.
And I
It's like I saw that like that when the dad was chasing her through the sandstorm. I just like I was really wishing he had like wishing like knowing what happens later on when the truth is revealed about what happened to Katie. It made me think that dad. I wish he could go on full on Liam Neeson and just hunted them down.
yeah, and it's unfortunate to know that such things like that do exist out there. That to this day, you know, they still haven't been apprehended. And I will admit, I said this before, but I actually do have a few connections, like because again with my international connections that I bring up all the time, I actually do have a few connections that like people I know out in Egypt.
Oh,
They're very few though, just like two or three people I know from Egypt. They're kind of more in the paranormal sense, however. Although, as you can, surprisingly, in spite of Egypt's notorious status, if you will, not very many people are really into the paranormal stuff there. So it's kind of a rare. In fact, I know you've seen my flag displayed on, but I
right.
actually have the flag of Egypt um, feature as one of the flags on my display to
Oh,
signify that I actually have people I know in Egypt.
nice.
But I can assure you though, the bottom line of what I'm just trying to say is that they're those people, as far as I'm concerned, are very, very friendly people. I mean, most of the time, most of the people there are usually very friendly and open minded.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but just like over here in this country, they do have their share of bad apples, and including those kind of things. So
Oh
it's
yeah.
always something that it's always something that you definitely got to watch out for. But for these individuals I know from Egypt, even though I haven't spoken to them like on the phone or face to face. Well, first off, I don't even know if they speak English, but I've gotten to know them long enough that these are people, of course, that I'm not only just know them just for the paranormal stuff. These are also people that at this point I pretty much know and I trust.
Yes. And yeah, like this just shows like again people are like look at these crimes and then just like about especially the ones involving children like we've seen here the kidnapping and but it's like yeah we have FBI, you know, we have federal services that let look into these cases, but like in real life, but they can only be in so many places at once. You know, I mean, and it's not just kidnappings and human trafficking that the FBI looks into. They look into serial killers, terrorist organizations, drug trafficking, you name it.
Yep. And sometimes, I mean, I know they can only do so much, but sometimes, contrary to like people always think that like, who are involved in that stuff, they could just flee across the border to another country where they can never be apprehended. And unfortunately, while there are some countries that sometimes kind of don't do anything about it once they flee, that still doesn't stop the FBI and all these other law enforcement agencies of stuff, because they do sometimes continue to find those people over whether it's across the border or overseas. In fact, I'll just throw this out as an example, not really a kidnapping, but just as an example of it. If you look, of course, back during after World War II, where many of the Nazis that were either not killed or captured fled down to South America because it was considered a safe haven. Because unfortunately, I think that was when America and Argentina and some of the other South American countries, I don't think we had such good relations with them back then as compared to now.
Right.
So therefore, and not only just for the United States, also parts of Europe, they probably weren't in good relations with either. So it became the safe haven for many of the former Nazis. And regrettably, some of them did manage to escape capture, but there were some that they were able to find and apprehend. There was actually, and to throw an example, there was a guy, I don't remember his name, it was a guy who was a Nazi. I don't know if he really kidnapped people, but he definitely killed a number of people.
Typical.
And you would think immediately that this is going to sound like a kidnapping, but just bear with me for a sec. He remembered one night he had to go out to a grocery store or something, and he did his shopping. And then when he came back home, this was back like in the early 70s, I think. Oh. So he got back home, and then all of a sudden, someone ran up to him. They put like literally like a hood over his head, and they put like they forced his arms, like putting handcuffs on, and then they forced him into a car. You would think that he's being kidnapped. No, it wasn't. It was American. I think it was both a combination of both American and European authorities that managed to track this guy down in Argentina, and they were able to arrest him and take him back to Germany to face his trial. So it just goes to show that when it comes to stuff like this, it's not only, even with what we got here, this is not only just truly restricted to the United States. We do have agencies that do assist us worldwide when it comes to whether it's murder or kidnapping or whatever. It's to basically essentially prove that, you might be in another country, but you're not going to get away with what you've done.
Yeah, I mean, that's only true with countries that we have
good relations with.
Well, not just that, but what do they call those? Extradition treaties.
Yes.
Yes, but it's like, yes, we have extradition treaties, but not with every country.
Yeah, there are some that, obviously we've already seen something like that with Russia, especially with the war that's still going on between Ukraine and Russia. And I know there was that famous basketball player that was arrested in Russia, all because she had marijuana on her, which that's pretty much has been accepted here in this country, but clearly Russia, it's still not.
Yeah, not in every state in this country.
Well, yeah, not every state. I mean, a good portion of it, but still not everyone. But I think she was finally freed like a year or two ago. But during that time, that was when the American authorities were trying, in spite of our bad relations with Russia, they were still trying to pressure to have her extradited back to the States, because it's like they were saying, well, we'll take her back so we can get this pressure off you and we'll handle it. But of course, not every country, especially something like Russia, is cooperative in that case.
No.
But, it still doesn't hurt to try when it comes to like crimes like this in other countries. And in this case with the mummy, that's no exception.
No. Yeah, so the dad is the family is called the Cannon family, and so the dad, Charlie Cannon, is played by Jack Raynor, who I remember from where is it? I know I have a copy here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Midsummer. If you haven't seen it, definitely recommend it. It's a
Okay.
nice little take on folk horror. Hey, Billy, how's it going? I mean, you're a little bit late, but that's okay.
Just like 25 minutes. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right. Hey, we got plenty of material to cover on
Oh,
this.
real quick, what Santi just said. Smile Dog, Jeff the Killer, The Rake, Slender Man. Those are all classic creepy pasta legends.
Yes.
Go on these monsters. I don't know if I would really. I'm not sure what he means by they are the true horror. Excuse me. They are the true horror. I mean, they're definitely modern horror characters.
Yes.
But I'm not really sure what he means by that they are the true horror. So, Santi, if you could go a little bit more on detail on that.
Yeah. So oh, we were just discussing that, Billy, about the Mummy by name. It's also an. Is this also an Evil Dead clone? Well, it is the same director as Evil Dead Rise, so he definitely had like some similar story themes as Evil Dead. Hey, Braxton, how's it
Hey,
going?
bro. Oh, and guess who just I'm sure you saw. Guess who decided to show up? Oh, Slinks.
Hey,
He always
Slinky.
has to make an appearance on the show.
Oh yeah. Let's see. So Slinks, what'd you think about the Mummy?
She just gave a hiss. I think you just got your answer.
Oh,
So she's like,
typical. No.
is that all you have to say? Is just weirdo. Yeah, cat
Oh
fight.
yeah. Oh,
Uh,
Braxton, that's not a dog. It's his cat.
that's my cat, Slinky Braxton. I know you've seen her before, but yeah, it's just same animal as usual. Lee Cronin, I think he's a
He's
director.
director. He is the director of Evil Dead Rise. We actually watched this at my birthday party here
Yeah,
Saturday. Yeah.
yeah, which we just watched a few nights ago.
Oh yeah, Rochelle suggested it.
Yeah, I just got to throw this out. Actually, no, I don't want to say it live. I'll tell you later.
Hey Billy. Oh, Tommy. Yeah, we cracked a joke about that earlier. That the Sandman from Spider-Man 3 and yeah, Flint Marko, that he was responsible for that sandstorm.
Just trying to give a helping hand, I guess.
Yeah, trying to give the magician a helping hand, and also Nick. That is what that villainous, that sorceress woman
Yep, the
was. That's what.
magician.
Yeah, that's what she's credited as, the magician. It's like they say her last name, but her first name's completely unknown. They never say it.
Yeah, I was gonna say there is no name. She's just referred to as the magician.
Yeah, and she is definitely one of the most like evil horror villains I've seen in a while. You know,
Just such an emaciated look. She just kind of had this unsettling look to her. Like she
yeah,
really is the kind of person that I definitely would not trust. Like funny enough, if I had my own kids, she would definitely be the person that, regardless if she's friendly or not, she's just that kind of person that, at best, is just not to be trusted.
no, that's just putting it lightly. Not to be trusted. Yeah, I mean, let's see. So she's played by Hayat Kamel. That's her name. I think she played a bit part in Murder on Orient Express, if I remember this right. Yeah, I think she did, but it was almost 9 years ago since I saw that movie when it came out.
Yeah.
Cover which movies? Let me see. Oh, The Mummy from with Brendan Fraser. Oh, yes, we will definitely cover that at one point. Yes, definitely. Hey,
Right,
here's The Mummy one paw up.
good paw. Yeah, there you go. Okay, that's what we're gonna start doing now with Slinkies. Like anytime we ask her a question, she gives a paw up. That will be her answer.
Yeah, there you go.
The hissing is not gonna count, Slinky.
Oh, yeah. But and what really disturbs me, not only like what we saw on that, the most disturbing thing in this movie to me was what we saw on that VHS tape near the end.
Oh yeah, that just looked so horrific,
Yeah,
but it was so
to me,
realistic.
oh yeah, it had a lot of realism to it to the point where it was not only horrific, it was just unsettling.
It was because, well, I mean, I will admit, I did like that they used the VHS, like the old-fashioned way of how things were. I did praise that, but just everything else about what you see, you know, because like I said, there are real things like that have been found out there, like
Yeah.
You know what it actually really reminded me of, which again I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'm just going to throw this. This is what it reminded me of, is and this is based on two real life serial killers, which thankfully are gone now. They unfortunately they were never executed. I know one of them died of cancer in prison, then the other one died of, I don't know, but not the point. Have you ever heard of the Toolbox Killers? You ever
Yes.
heard of them? Okay, so what I'm just going to say, because I'm going to keep it real short, for those that don't know, the Toolbox Killers, they were a duo of two serial killers that in the late 1970s, between 1978 and 1979, they murdered five women, all of which were teen girls, and not only that, they beat them, they raped them, they were just horrific monsters,
Yeah.
and they called themselves the toolbox murders because killers because of the weapons they used. It came from a toolbox.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
during amongst, again, I don't want to also go too much into it, not only because I want to stay on topic, but also some of what I'm about, some of it's just too graphic to say.
Yeah.
But so what I'm just going to say is during two of their attacks, where two of the girls were attacked, um, one of the guys then pulled out a tape recorder and actually recorded the attack, if you will, and asked if she was enjoying it. And here's the unsettling part about that: that tape, um, out of the two, Lawrence Bittaker was kind of the leader of the two, if you will.
Yeah.
So when he was interviewed later on, Lawrence Bittaker later claimed that he buried the tape in a nearby cemetery, and to this day, that tape has never been found. But honestly, I really,
It's better off not being found.
well, and that's not only it. Then a year later, their final victim they did the same thing, and they also did a tape recording on that, and truly a night of horror because it actually happened on Halloween nights. So what worse night can you imagine? And the girl, this poor girl was only like 16.
Oh,
That tape was eventually recovered because Lawrence Bittaker replaced it. And during the court, they played it in the courtroom. And I mean, can you even imagine
I don't even want to picture it.
what we saw in this movie? It reminded me of that because like in that real life case, more than 100 people were in the courtroom when that tape recording was, including the victims' families. And when that was played, people either was like throwing their heads down crying, or others just, some of them just ran out of the courtroom. Even some of them
Yeah.
vomited.
Yeah.
So it was just,
Which
it's creepy. It's very creepy when I kind of think about a real life case and seeing something like that. It reminded me of that real case.
Yes, and which brings me to a point I was about to make about the tape.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Um, so when it comes to like kidnappers, I mean, I've studied a little bit of criminology, here and there, but yeah, there are two main reasons why a kidnapper would would record their acts against their victims. For one would be personal satisfaction, and two would be pain infliction. As far as personal satisfaction, they record that so they can have so that the perpetrator can revisit their crime over and over again, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and so yeah, that's personal satisfaction. And the second reason would be pain infliction, meaning that they could just send that footage to the family of the victim to inflict further pain on.
yeah. Well, and also to a more third and more unsettling degree. And in this case, this is probably what the case with the toolbox killers, when you really think about it, is that, and this is kind of more a personal. It's still kind of what you said about the personal thing. Sometimes it's also for a sexual reaction,
Ugh.
and it's awful. And if anybody, I'm just gonna say, if anybody asks whatever happened to this tape that I was just bringing up, that tape now, the one that was recovered, is actually now in use of the FBI Academy. They use that tape for new recruits to basically get them to be exposed to the reality of serial killers and such criminals like that. It's essentially a way to get you deterred from this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
And
Nick, I mean that's the reason why I could never, even when I was a teenager, I knew that I could never get into law enforcement or anything that involves with investigating severe crimes, especially what we see in this movie involving children, because anything involving children is just beyond horrific to me.
well, and I'm just going to say this, and again, because I know some people are curious. Also, to be clear about this recording too, that recording for the most part, because it's in the hands of the FBI Academy, is not available that you could watch on YouTube. Although you could
Yeah,
the
thank Christ.
although the transcript is, and I've read it, and it's horrific. And it actually, when they did a small documentary, which some of it was filmed in the actual courtroom, and very briefly you can actually hear the recording being played through the doors. And I'm telling you right now from experience, and this is why I think when we saw that tape sequence, it just brought a sense of horror to me because of realism. From what I could tell you from the very brief times that I heard it, and even the prosecutor who's still alive from that case will tell you the same thing. These were the exact same words that he used in a documentary. What I heard briefly from that tape, you cannot get any Hollywood horror film or scream queen actress to imitate what you hear on that tape. It is just literally the most awful thing that anyone has ever heard. It's like it just literally reaches deep down inside and just twists your insides completely out.
Yeah, no, yeah, I got you. Oh, and also Braxton. Yeah, I totally agree. Anything involving, anything that involves working with traumatized or deceased kids, I just can't do it.
Yeah,
No
it's
way.
it's funny that Braxton brought that up. I'm not trying to sound well. I'm not trying to make it funny, but it's I should have said it's more ironic because my mom asked me that, funny enough, a decade ago, saying would I ever consider like wanting to work in a mortuary or something like that? Because, I mean, yes, they sometimes say the job. It's actually kind of an easy job more than you think, but I said I don't know if I mean, and yes, it may be good money paying too, but I said I don't know if I could do it. I really don't for a couple of reasons. You would have to stare right into the face of those who have died, especially if they were killed in a very gruesome way. Because that change. Because you do hear even with police officers, sometimes they say that what they've seen is probably like the worst that they've seen, like in 20 or 30 years on the job. So you have to, not to mention that most of the time you're usually, unless you have a partner or someone who's shadowing you or helping you out, you're usually a self. You're usually by yourself with the corpse.
Yeah,
So it could also at times be a very unsettling experience, because sometimes, I mean, I hate to say it, some of these corpse bodies can sometimes look kind of scary looking when, if they're, especially if they're mutilated beyond recognition. But
yeah,
not only that, it's just a very sad atmosphere. And I even said the same thing, saying, well, that means I would have to work on people of all ages, including children.
yeah.
And I
I
don't know if I could do that. I
I can
really
never
don't.
I can never work. I mean, it's like people are like probably looking at me saying, "Oh, but but you've seen corpses and mutilated stuff all the time in movies." I'm not just like, yeah, in movies, not real life. It's like yes, and like people, it's like, am I disturbed by violence? I'm like, yeah, real violence, not fake stuff on TV screens.
Well, that's why I basically gave like the torture tape of the Toolbox Killers as an example. That was something that was, yes, obviously it's nothing you could see because it was just a recording, but
Nor would I
it was
want to.
still yeah, nor would I want to either. But it was just horrific nonetheless. So I just don't think that I could handle. So, and what Braxton just said too, saying even working on grown people, on adults who didn't deserve what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not even just restricted to kids. It's for even adults too.
Exactly. And like we discussed earlier, this definitely had some lot of gross out moments. This movie.
Exactly. It essentially kind of did steal with the death and decay, if you will.
Yes. And especially that scene where they were working on probably the most gruesome pedicure scene in movie history.
Oh God, that scene was awful.
Yeah,
Oh
I
my
believe.
God, I was cringing so much. Like
Yeah,
I just like wanted to grab onto somebody when I saw that. I'm not gonna lie.
I think that's the part where you stepped out.
It
Yeah.
was. I couldn't handle. I had to go out and get some fresh air as well. Well, actually, I had to go use the bathroom actually, but I had to get some fresh air. That was just too much for me.
Yeah, there was one part of the movie where they were, because when let's just really explain. When Katie was returned to the family, like when she was found in a sarcophagus in the wreckage of a plane crash, she was in a catatonic state. She's, I think, 17, or her body's 17,
I think
but
she's like 16. Yeah.
yeah, roughly. That's my estimate. She like they had to her nails were overgrown and rotting, so they had to like cut away when they like some of the nails, and then when they got to her big toe, they got rid of more than just the nail.
Tore like a whole bunch of skin on her leg. That was just disgusting.
Yeah, it was. It looked realistic.
Yeah, that was a little bit too much. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, um, and I'm not trying to sound gross myself, but it basically made me stop wanting to clip. I was gonna clip my toenails a few days ago, but I decided to hold off on that, even though that they needed to be cut. I just thought this was just. It just basically I had to stop. I was hesitant of doing that after a few days.
Oh man, I just bear in mind it's like, hey, I take good care of my nails, so I don't need to worry about them being rotted or the possibility about them being torn off of my fingers or my toes if I cut them.
I mean, I still trim my nails. I'll just be clear on things, but no, just that. I just couldn't stop thinking about that scene. It was just not only just gross. It was just painful too.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from, Nick. That was definitely cringe.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's the first time I've really cringed in like that in quite a very long time.
And then there was that other little girl, the younger sister, Maud. One of the like this was kind of foreshadowed because she was like had loose teeth, but later on in the film when the demon had possessed her as well, like it transferred to other people, just like in Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same formula as Evil Dead. And she ended up while being possessed by the demon, she pulled out her teeth and then took the dentures from the dead grandma and then put them in her mouth. Oh,
That was awful.
that was horrific.
Like how she just pulled her teeth out with ease too, like it was like no big issue to her.
Yeah, like, could you even imagine pulling your own tooth? Oh,
I mean,
oh,
I'm not gonna lie. The closest I've ever done, obviously, is one of the baby teeth. Like, 'cause eventually that tooth does need to go out. Though I didn't pull. Of course, I didn't pull it out. Although sometimes you kind of, I don't know if you ever did this. Sometimes you kind of had to push it a little bit if it
yeah,
was like right on the root, which it's still not pleasant. But you had to get rid of. It had to come out essentially. But
yeah.
either
I
way,
mean,
it was still just. It was. I can't help but think like geez, I hope like a lot of kids don't really do that in real life because like, oh God, that's awful.
oh, let's not forget pedicures. Yeah, it's like my nieces and nephews. They're 9 years old and younger, and they're pretty much at the phase where they're slow one like gradually losing their baby teeth, right? Like every once in a while they have a loose tooth.
Yeah.
That's how little kids are. And so of course, I always make jokes about it with them. Like my niece Maeve, she's 9, and she said, "Hey, Uncle Don, my tooth is I just lost my one of my baby teeth." And I looked at her brother Graham, and I was like, "What did you do to your big sister's teeth?" Or
Um,
yeah, or wait, hang on. I just remembered something. Hang on.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, Braxton. There was a horror film that was called The Dentist. It came out in the late 1996. Surprisingly, I haven't seen that one either.
Here, I just remembered something. When we were like on vacation, we were having a barbecue, and so we were just, of course, using tongs, right, for the hot dogs. And
Yeah.
so my nephew was like, "Hey, Uncle Don, like my tooth is, I have a loose tooth right there," and I picked up these, and I was like, "Oh, here, if you want, I could just remove it for you."
Oh God! And how did she react?
He was laughing, and he covered his mouth, saying no, because he knew because my nieces and nephews, they know I'm a jokester, they know I'm not
Yeah.
serious. Yeah, they know that all the time I'm just like this. Like,
uh, did you see what Braxton has saying? Yeah, she was saying about it. Was there a horror film called The Dentist? I've never seen it. Surprisingly, have you?
I've seen it years and years ago. This was back when I was 16. They had it on Comcast on demand, and it's disturbing, but not too. It wasn't really that great, to be honest.
It is. It was, however, ironically enough, based on a real life serial killer. That I don't know if he actually did those acts like by killing people and like dismembering their teeth or whatever. But it is based on a real life serial killer. I think that was a dentist. I haven't looked at it in quite a long time, so I got to look it up. And also, I was just gonna respond too about what Braxton had just said. What reminds me of the recording of the masked. Oh yeah, the killing of Jim Jones cult group here in the kit. Yeah, I've heard it. I've heard that tape. That is on YouTube, by the way, and
Oh,
yeah, it's disturbing. But the tape that I was referring to, I think, was far more horrific because, yes, you hear people crying in the tape of the Jim Jones cult, but in this recording that I heard, you could hear constant screaming, and it's horrific. It just really echoes of really what happens to somebody when they're actually kidnapped,
oh,
tortured, and eventually murdered. And someone even asked later on that prosecutor saying, was the tape really necessary to play in the court? And the prosecutor, he literally said, "You're damn right it needs to be played. These people need to know what happened to these girls." And unfortunately, as crazy as it sounds, unfortunately he was absolutely right, because that
yeah,
really was the ultimate proof to show like how terrible these guys were. Like really like you said, inflicting pain and terror on their victims.
yeah. Let's see. Um, trying to remember like other things. Oh, like here. I just wrote something down right here. So like as Katie is home, like she's demonstrating all sorts of bizarre supernatural behaviors, like crawling on walls and ceilings, and like oh god, and also the grandma scene.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, the scene where she takes the grandma, throws her out the window, and then is like eaten alive by the wolves.
By the wolves, yeah. Which I got a feeling most likely those wolves were probably under the demon's control,
I
because
would think so.
it would be weird if they just randomly showed up. I think the demon basically like summoned them, if you will.
Yeah, and oh yeah, Billy. Yeah, we're interested in seeing that. The Mummy, the new sequel to the Mummy, with the Radio Silence is making, which Brandon
You know,
Fraser is reprising his role.
didn't he already say that previously? I
We
can't
did.
remember.
We did respond to that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought we said something already.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Apparently, Katie is related to Spider Man.
Yeah,
Apparently.
seems to be.
Yeah, because there was one part where she used that ability like when with the grandma's funeral, and then that like uses the little sister like missing the teeth or like using the dentures and like biting someone as a distraction while Katie was like ripping into the dead grandma's throat. At first I thought she was like drinking up the blood, but when I further look, it looked like it was some kind of embalming fluid.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it was.
yeah, some kind of embalming fluid, and that was
Also,
yeah, it's like yes, which is also still pretty disgusting.
yeah, it is. Also, real quick, and I just decided to look this up just out of curiosity, and this is something for Braxton to know. This is just one more thing about the dentist. Remember how I said that it might have been based on a real life serial killer? Just real quick. It says it's not a direct biography, but it is loosely inspired by the true story of Dr. Glennon Engelman,
Hmm.
a Missouri dentist and hitman who murdered at least 7 people for financial gain. While Engelman was a real serial killer, to be clear, the film's specific plot, a dentist torturing patients after his wife's infidelity, that's all entirely fictional. So,
Yeah.
um, and as for Engelman, he is like, because I know some people like to ask if he's still alive today. No, he is dead. He died. He died back in 1999 at the age of 72.
I see. Yeah. So so that's two suggestions people are giving us: the dentist and also Doctor Giggles. I do remember that one. That had Larry Drake.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Larry Drake. I remember him seeing him in let's see, Dark Man with Liam Neeson, also directed by Sam Raimi. So that's technically the first superhero movie he made, not Spider Man.
yeah.
Yeah. So let's see who. Let's see. I also remember seeing him in a B horror film from the '80s, The Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, I believe it was.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, Larry Drake. I've seen him in a few things here and there. So
Yeah.
I don't believe he's alive today.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think he passed away several years ago.
Yeah. Calling Mummy needs to pick up in Peru because at the end of Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, John said, "Chow Chow Shanghai."
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, they were found in
yeah,
Peru.
that's right. That's true.
That would be another good direction, by the way, because like most of our there's been plenty of mummy movies, and they usually take place, of course, obviously in Egypt, and there's nothing wrong with that because Egypt's the most notorious spot for mummies. But even parts of South America, like Peru, do have their own mummies, and they obviously, while there are some similarities, it's also a different culture too. So I'm actually surprised they haven't made like a Peruvian mummy movie anytime, like anytime soon. I mean, or maybe they have. We just don't know because we don't always know every horror movie out there. There are many other foreign horror films out there that obviously I know we're unaware of, but
Hmm.
maybe they had made a movie. I don't know.
Yeah, and I do like that idea, Brexton, of how they're going to do battle against Mayan high priest. Yeah, not a bad idea. Yeah, it's like it feels like people make so many different ideas about horror, but like that sound good on paper, but are then poorly executed. Like there was one that takes place in Egypt. It's not a mummy movie, no, but it's like a found footage horror film. It's called The Pyramid,
Yeah.
where you probably heard about this one, Nick.
Yes.
Yeah, archaeological team descends into a three-sided pyramid. They get trapped down there and like are hunted by something. It's like yeah, sounds great on paper, right? But it just was. I felt like it was poorly executed, and the reveal of what the true villain of the whole thing was, I found pretty ridiculous. Here, let me
Hey,
just.
Irene. Irene's here in the chat.
Oh, hey, Irene, laying low today. Oh, I see. Yeah, well, it's good. It's good to hear from you, Irene.
Yeah. While you're doing that too, I thought of
Found
another
it.
movie that basically kind of did something. But you go ahead with yours.
Here, found it. So it turns out that the villain in the pyramid is the Egyptian god Anubis.
Oh, Anubis. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
The Lord of the Dead.
brought to life with some pretty crappy CGI.
Well, another movie I could think of, and I remember you had it on your screen at one point. On was not necessarily the original, but when you showed me that Night of the Demons, the original one from 1988,
Right.
was there. Of course, I know that spawned two sequels along with a remake in 2009. And
Yes, the one with Edward Furlong. Yes.
yeah, and I know, of course, once they made the second Night of the Demons, I mean, it was. I know it wasn't as good as the original. I mean, it was okay. I think it was because they also took a different turn with it because it was more comedy, even though the original one too kind of had humorous moments too.
Right.
This was intended to be more comedy. That's what they were intending to do. But by the time they made the third Night of the Demons film, which at this point, by the way, they were no. I don't even know if the second one was released. I think both sequels were not even released theatrically. I think they were both released direct to video. But by the time they made the third one, they actually said that Night of the Demons 3 was probably the weakest of the Night of the Demons trilogy, if you will. But they actually did say one thing. They said the script for Night of the Demons 3 looks really good.
Hmm.
The movie itself, though, was just not good at all.
I see.
Like they said,
Yeah.
it was good as a script, but not good as a movie.
No. Yeah. Like again, good ideas, but but had not so great execution.
Well, and at that point too, because like that third one, that was made almost a decade after the original Night of the Demons came out. Night of the Demons 3 came out in 1997. And it was pretty much at that point where even if they were intentionally trying to make a trilogy, it just it just was not it was just not what it was before. It was just it pretty much had its run. It kind of had fallen out then, and also considering that it had been a decade, if they made it sooner, they probably would have had a little bit more success with it, and it probably would have done better. But because this was over a decade after the original one came out, it
Hmm.
kind of ran its course already, and
Yeah.
that definitely told everyone that even after when the third one was made, they were not gonna make any more movies apart from the remake in 2009.
Right. Yeah, no, I hear you. Braxton. I just looked up what the movie that you just told me, The Legion of the Dead.
Legion of
That,
the Dead.
that was this one. I can't believe Zach Galligan of all people is in this. Zach Galligan from Gremlins, Billy. But
That's crazy.
yeah, not the same movie. I was talking about this found footage film called The Pyramid, which was released almost a decade ago, or actually a little more than a decade ago. I think it was 11 years. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I know that the main star in that, I believe she's married to Topher Grace.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I've tried. Yeah, I looked at. I didn't really look into her here. Let me, the pyramid. Let's see, 2014. Okay, so 12 years, but yeah, but yeah, it was around that time frame. Let's see, Ashley Hinshaw, that's her name. Yeah, that name. I'm pretty sure I've seen her in other things. Oh wait, now I remember. Chronicle. Yes, she played Casey.
Okay.
Yeah, Chronicle is a good one. Is Doctor Jekyll and Mister Hyde scary in their way? Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so
they are.
yeah, yeah. Night of the Demons. Nick, we should definitely cover that around Halloween.
Yeah, because to be fair, all three of them do take place around Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
funny enough, they use the name of the location is obviously based on a name that we have here in Chicago, but completely different story between the real life location and the one that they have in Night of the Demons, and that's Hull House. But the difference is with our Hull House we have here in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
it was a shelter that was made. Although to be fair, it also is actually rumored to be haunted, but it's not possessed by demons or anything like that.
Yeah, no demons there. Thank God.
Other than the so-called legend of the devil baby, but there's no evidence to really prove if that, because people claim they've seen that creature, but no other evidence has really been given. I think people have actually been up in the attic too, where supposedly it's hiding, and there is no evidence to really show if anything like that actually exists. It may have just been an urban legend, although of course, and I said this many shows ago, that did create the inspiration for Rosemary's Baby in
Hmm.
1968.
Oh yes. Saw a bit of the second. Oh yeah, I believe one of the actors from Tremors is in that. The one who played Melvin. Yeah, yeah, I remember that movie being in there. I remember him from that movie. I mean, God, I can't talk tonight.
It's been a
But
long day.
yeah. So let's see. And they also introduced a pretty interesting plot point as far as the way the mummy was depicted in this. The way that Katie was with the wrappings that she was in, like all of them were like used as like a barrier to keep the spirit from to keep the evil demon dormant.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The more they unraveled, the stronger the entity became.
exactly.
Yeah.
Um,
And apparently, like it looked like the wrappings were like parts of her skin too. Like she had to tear all that off. Oh,
I
yeah,
was just thinking to myself, like when they got through that scene of like getting the rest of the mummified wraps and parts of the sky. I'm not gonna lie, I literally thought she was like gonna like tear like everything off. Like I just remember thinking like, whew, like, geez, they're really going to the extreme with this movie. It's like, how much more are they really going to go with this?
I know. Oh my god. And so like there's all sorts of like, and also there are some parts of the film where the parents are like blaming each other for Katie's disappearance. Like, where were you when this happened? You know, and like things like that. It's like that thing that eventually does happen with as far as some kidnappings in real life. Like the parents trying to figure out who's to blame.
Yeah, and that's actually, if anything, a common thing that happens when amongst kidnappings is that parents do tend to. It's very common for parents to basically blame each other, even when they know neither of them, even if they were well aware that this was neither their fault. I mean, because as a parent, you can only do so much. I mean, yes, you're supposed to always protect and watch over your kids, but life gets in the way, as they always say. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't truly escape, with things that you got to do. It just doesn't. I mean, that's like that for everybody. It's just not something you could just escape from. It's just simply part of life. Unfortunately, I hate to say it that way, but
Yeah.
that's the truth.
It is
Oh,
like
but it's very common for parents to just try to look for someone to blame and try to make it look like it was their fault, even if it wasn't. But that's also the negative side effects. Is that kind of like with what you see, like if when they're thinking about it too much and they blame each other,
Mhm.
then that's actually kind of giving more power, even unbeknownst to the kidnapper, because when they're doing those arguments and accusations towards each other, they're really giving the kidnapper even more power, unbeknownst to him.
Yes. I mean, this is just another example in the world of horror where, like, even though, sure, this movie's not 100% realistic, but is some realism that does exist. You know,
There
like,
is.
yeah, especially when, like, as far as the kidnappings and what we saw, and, like, the sort of distress it creates, the trauma, like, and then it's like, looking at this, I mean, you just think that, the world is not always, just smiles and sunshine. There really is darkness that does live among us.
And that's something I think we probably have said before, is that shows, not just this movie, horror based. Actually, no. I forgot his name. The original actor, even the original actor of Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, basically said that in an interview one time, is that horror, in a way, does bring reality to us. It's basically to show that the world is not as nice as we originally want it to be, or we interpret to be. Um, it's just, and I'm going to be honest too. I mean, I don't mean to sound basically like going on this, like, not extreme, but like, say for example, if there was someone out there that basically wanted to do harm to me, or someone that I know, basically, and I'm not trying to sound like a threat or anything like this, but you'll get the understanding. I'm not afraid basically to basically use violence or fight back to either protect myself or my family or my friends or my paranormal brothers and sisters. I don't seek violence in any way, shape, or form, but it's a violent world that we live in, especially in this day and age.
Yes, especially when you live in a big city.
Yeah,
That too.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, Chicago's got a pretty high, oh god, a high murder rate, among other things.
yeah. Which, for those of you who don't know, I mean, I think the crime rate is starting to go down a little bit, but unfortunately, it is still going down. For a short period, it seemed like as if Chicago was kind of the murder capital of the United States, but that's no longer the case. It seems that role has kind of been more or less. Braxton might know this actually. That title has more or less been more has been passed down to Jackson, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi.
Ah,
It's just a lot. There's just a lot more crime that's been going on throughout the city. In fact, actually, the few times that Jeremy sometimes had to drive down to New Orleans for his bowling tournaments, he had to drive through Mississippi a few times. Obviously, driving through Mississippi is not an issue.
hmm
It's just Jackson that they were like, even some of our friends from Mississippi were telling us, saying, yeah, you definitely want to avoid Jackson, especially at night. But even so, Chicago still has a pretty high crime rate, and even though, again, like I said, it has gone down a little bit, unfortunately, with what I was about to say, is that our city, as great of a city as it is, don't get me wrong, I still love Chicago nonetheless, but unfortunately, Chicago does have a murder rate 3 times that of New York City.
yeah, it's like, I mean, personally, I was, I mean, I love Chicago. I love everything about it. I always want to look for the good in it. I want to believe that most people in this city are great people, but at the same time, you gotta know what to avoid. Like, for example, back in December when I was hanging around downtown, I was hanging around and walking the streets of downtown. I was trying to like avoid like get a. When I was like passing Soldier Field, which was in, wow, man, single digit temperature, and a lot of people were getting out of the Bears game. And it's like, yeah, crazy how people would stand out there in single digit temperature during that. But as I was walking by, like there's this guy who approaches me saying, "Hey, I'm a Uber driver. Would you like to give you a ride?" I was like,
Oh God.
so here's what I did. I was hesitant. I was just like, no, no, thanks. I'm good. I kept on walking. He's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine." So I just kept on my way. Yeah, it's like anybody can say they're with Uber, anybody.
Yeah.
So I knew to avoid that, because if I want an Uber, I just go on the app, order an Uber driver, and find, like, locate that driver based on the information I'm given, the make and model, the license plate, the driver's name, his photo. That's what I look for. I'm not just gonna take the word of some random person on the street.
That's kind of scary. That's kind of scary, to be honest with you.
It
Like, when you
is.
told me that, because like no Uber driver would just simply come up and tell you, like, say, "Hey, I'm doing this." Actually, I'm just gonna here. I'm going to throw out I'm actually going to give you another
Exactly,
example
Braxton. My feelings exactly, Braxton.
here. I'm going to give you another example of something like that because again, you know me with doing my research because again, I've done criminology too because it's part of my history research.
Right.
Again, I'm going to keep it real short, and this involves actually a murder that happened, and it actually occurred. This murder that I'm about to bring up, because remember I told you I used to go up to northern Wisconsin, like for the lakeside house that we used to go to.
Right.
That murder occurred probably about an hour away from where that cabin where we were staying.
Ooh.
Although this was actually, in fact, it was this was a crime that occurred exactly 60 years ago on April. It was April 18th of 1966. So yeah, this was a crime that occurred over 60 years ago. There was I'm trying to remember. Uh, Man, it's been well. I can't remember all the details right now, but it was it was involving a woman by the name of Mary Holzum, and Mary, she was walking up. So what happened was Mary, she was walking home from church one night. Now it's raining, and no, no, actually no, the details just came back. So victim was her name was Mary Holzum, 26 years old, and the person who killed her was a guy named Eugene Scholf, 29 years old. So now, Mary, she was walking home from church one night. Now it's raining. This guy Eugene Scholf pulls up to her and says, "Hey, let me give you a ride," which she accepted.
Oh,
First they went to the bar. They had a couple of drinks. They kind of hung out at the bar for a little bit, and they were probably there until like the bar until like for an hour or so. And she left with Eugene, and that was the last time that anyone saw her. And what happened was it turned out that Eugene tried to make an advance on her, which of course she resisted. And next thing you know, he grabbed basically like a knife and stabbed her several times, like multiple times, and then he cut her throat
oh,
and
Jesus.
buried and then put her body in the trunk. And they said that it wasn't long for the police. You know, police got a call about 10 p.m. later that night from a resident who lived nearby, who
Mm-hmm.
said they heard screaming. He heard screaming coming from the nearby woods. The police went down to the bar, talked to the bartender, and they said, "Yep, Mary was here along with a guy named Eugene Schoaf." They went down to his house. They found blood and bloody clothes in the back seat of his car.
Oh,
Of course, they immediately took him in. They immediately took him in for questioning. So, I mean, Eugene confessed to killing her, and there's actually a mugshot that I did come across, which was taken the day after he was arrested. He was charged with first-degree murder, and now there wasn't very many details about like why he did this to begin with. Although the only thing that he actually explained, like if he ever committed like any crimes like this previously,
mm-hmm.
was that it came out that in 1954, while serving in the army, yes, he served in the army too. So it came out that in 1954, while serving in the army, he actually approached military doctors for help because he claimed he had been slicing the throats of animals, and he
Oh,
feared that one day he was going to do that to a woman. So think about it. He
yeah.
asked for help.
I mean this. I mean, this all just sounds like something like out of an episode of Forensic Files.
It does. So therefore, it's like this guy. He asked for help. Obviously, he didn't because this guy basically had he not been caught sooner. This guy basically had the markings of a serial killer. So the craziest thing is you're going to get pissed off in the end of this, Don. I'm going to tell you that. So because again, I'm keeping it short. So it has as far as the trial went for him in June. I think it was in June of 1966 or so, or I think it was sometime later that year. He was actually found not guilty by reason of insanity.
Oh,
However, he was still sent to a mental institution in Waupun, Wisconsin, but that's not the worst of it. In the early 70s, he was released.
oh God.
And I was like, I even remember thinking to myself, like saying, that sick son of a bitch. I can't believe they let this guy out.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's very little detail of what we know about what happened to him for the rest of his life. I mean, last report we have of him is that he moves to Alabama and dies in 2002 at the age of 65.
Yeah. Wow.
So really, there's no justice out. So it's stuff like that again to add the realism to it with what you told me. just really goes to show that you really got to be careful with your surroundings, and especially
Yes.
when people off, like even in this case, even back in 1966, long before Ubers or even taxi cabs were a common thing, especially in the rural areas. That was something you really had to be careful even back then,
Yeah, that's true.
because you just
So
don't know. You
yeah,
just don't know.
yeah,
So
and so yeah, back to them. And yeah,
yeah,
man, like like the way this movie plays out, like so the while her most horrific parts of the movie are occurring in Albuquerque, there is a detective, a police detective in Egypt named Dahlia, who was set out to pick up the beat and like try to figure out what happened to Katie after Katie, who somewhere in her body or like her spirit, I guess so, was intact, was gave a hint as like gave one name of like the girl that she was friends with, and it turns out that girl's mother was the magician.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, and we
yeah,
saw her very briefly when she's a child too.
yes, and her two brothers as well. So Delia ends up tracking them down their home, and so the magician comes at her with a cleaver, I guess it was, and it's just an old case of I guess they say bringing a blade to a gunfight because Dahlia just shot her and you thought she was dead right then and there. And that's what I thought at first. I thought she was dead. That the magician was killed right then and there. Then when she comes across the daughter, Layla, I think her name was.
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
And so when the daughter was brought in for questioning, Dahlia discovered that her tongue was cut out. That the daughter's tongue was cut out when she tried to tell people about what was going on, and but then she wrote, even though she couldn't speak, wrote down the what happened to Katie, and when they then discovered what was on the tape, and that which again most disturbing part of the whole movie.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, bless you. So, the tape, which again, most disturbing thing about that whole movie, that Dahlia was able to memorize the chant that was made to do the soul transfer because that's how they got the demon's soul into Katie's body to use her as a vessel to contain it because Katie was abducted because they wanted to use her as a host for this demon to contain it and because they've discovered that a child's body would last longer than an adult's. Yeah, pretty sick stuff. And so when they find so them and so even though the demon was trying to stop them, Dahlia had a scorpion got inside her mouth and then she had that scorpion's tail went through her throat and she had to pull it
Oh
out.
God, yeah,
I remember that. Oh yeah, seriously. Again, lots of disturbing things in this movie. Lots.
yeah. There is and that's why again I was saying before that this movie really went to the extreme.
It did. It really did. Yeah, something that I expect only Lee Cronin to do. But then even though her throat was messed up, she was closing on the wound so that she can get herself to speak, and say the chant, and they were able to transfer the demon from Katie into Charlie, and so who was Katie's dad. Yes, and so Katie was returned to normal, and it's kind of bittersweet, seeing her at the end, interacting and bonding with her siblings. It's yeah, yes, she's back to normal, but the damage was done.
Right? Yeah, yeah. I mean, it pretty much damaged the vocal cords.
No, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Oh,
I'm talking about
oh
the
yeah,
family.
yeah.
I'm talking about the family.
Oh, the family itself. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were still talking about the throat situation.
That,
But yeah, no, no, I understand.
I was talking about how Katie's her returning to normal felt bittersweet because yes, she was able to return to normal and form an appropriate bond with her siblings, but serious damage had already been done.
Yeah, yeah. Especially with 8 years that have gone
Yes,
by.
yes. But the family did deliver a comeuppance on the magician in the end because they managed to track down the magician who was being held in prison, who had somehow survived getting shot.
Yeah.
So, and then, so a nurse walks in and injects her with, I'm guessing, some sort of a paralytic agent.
Yeah, or some type of sedative of some sort. Yeah.
Right. And so they were, it turns out that the nurse it was actually Larissa, the mom. And so Dahlia walks in. Her throat was still healing. I'm not sure if she would ever get her voice back after that. But they brought in Charlie, who was still possessed by the demon, and Dahlia was starting to recite the chant to transfer the demon into the magician.
Yeah, to basically save the husband now because he willingly, in a way, sacrificed himself. But now they're able to return the favor because, they'll be able to save him now. So that way, none of the family will ever truly be separated as a result. And it is such a classic revenge sequence.
Yes.
And this time, the magician is really screwed because you just know for a fact nobody is going to try to help her out with this.
Nope.
Even with her other cult members.
No, because they pretty much gave the magician a proper comeuppance. I'm pretty sure after that they just buried her, her quote, like mummified her and then just buried the magician somewhere, like where. And I also found out that it turns out that her magician's two sons, who were shown in the beginning, were the pilots of the plane that was transferring Katie's in a sarcophagus.
That makes so much more sense now. Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out it was her two sons that were doing it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That makes so
which
much sense.
I forgot to mention from the get go. They discovered Katie after she was found in a sarcophagus as a result of a plane crash, and that plane turned out to be piloted by the magician's two sons.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So it was, in the case with the magician, it was instant karma.
Yes, and when it comes to combats, the magician definitely wasn't that bright. I mean, come on, that's like coming at a cop with a cleaver. It's like you're there's over one surefire way to get shot. That's got to be it.
Just no, yeah, like that's like the worst thing you could do, like going out with a weapon like that.
Yeah, it makes me think of Raiders of the Lost Ark. A knife to a gunfight.
Yeah. Hey, Nikki.
Hey, Nikki. Oh, Nikki, I appreciate it. Thank you.
I was actually just speaking with Nikki on the phone just last night, so she's doing pretty good.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to call Kate. I meant to be meaning to talk to her.
Yeah, yeah. I was speaking with her recently. Well, obviously because we played Minecraft a few nights ago. Also, I don't know if you heard her mom was actually visiting from the UK.
She did
But
mention that, yes.
yeah, but she's back in the UK now.
Let's see. Oh, her mom is or Kate is?
Her mom is.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, whoa, wait. Did Kate?
No, no, no. If she was no, if she was
Okay,
going back, I would have told you about that immediately.
Okay. So I was about to say, you had to be concerned for a second there.
Nope, no, yeah, you're good. You're good.
Okay. All right.
Everything's fine.
All right. So yeah, the Mummy. It's definitely a very different take from what you'd expect. Like ever since I was little. Ever since I was little, I've always been a fan of the Universal monster movies. I watched
Yeah.
these. I watched these movies religiously when I was little. Even especially, I've also had been watching the Abbott and Costello ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Classic. But yeah, like Mummy, Invisible Man, Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, all of them. I loved it. But this right here, definitely a much darker take.
Yeah, a very dark take. So it just Nikki actually just messaged me on Dodge. She said, "Did you end up blowing out the candle?" Like when we took those pictures, like with you holding the candle app.
Yeah, we used a candle app for me to blow out, and it didn't work. Not surprising. But yeah, I don't keep candles in my condo. Fire hazard.
Yeah. Well, most people don't in this day and age. That's why, like, you see, I have those red and black candles. Like, that's why I have the battery operated ones.
I see.
So, and that's what most people are using now in this day and age too.
Oh yeah, I use like those plug-in like air fresheners to like because I don't use scented candles like some people do because again, fire hazard.
Well, especially with my, again, just as in character, not for real life. When I'm doing my worshiping as the Scary Stories host, I'd rather use. Well, when you think about it too, when you use real candles, those melt. Those candles are not going to last forever.
Nope.
When you have the battery operated ones, they will. And not to mention too, because my cloak that I wear for my Scary Stories host character, that definitely would also present a fire hazard too, because it's a long rope, and if I had real candles, unbeknownst to me, my rope could catch on fire without even noticing. So
Yeah.
to go through something like that, it's I mean, with real candles, it's just not worth using.
Right. Yeah, I just don't take risks.
Yeah, it's just not worth it. Like to keep the serial killer basically. Yeah, well, okay, I can't believe I'm about to say this. So yeah, so Sarah just as I think actually no, wait, what am I saying? I think Sarah already knows that I have my character that I do to promote my scary stories to tell in the dark books, which by the way, my newest edition is coming in tomorrow, which I'm looking forward of receiving from Amazon. And if Sarah doesn't know this, but I actually have a symbol now that I'm going to be using as like my calling card. Like, but instead, I mean, yes, I will admit I did base it off of like some serial killers and stuff, but in my case, it's to promote whenever an audiobook collection is
Here,
completed.
I already got one here. This is my calling card.
Yeah,
The,
this
the letter D.
letter D. Well, and since you're showing that, because I'm sure some people are going to be curious, I'll just show a quick picture. Now this image I'm about to show, this actually came from one of the books, and I liked the image so much that I decided to adapt it as my symbol. Again, let me know if you could see, because again, my camera is offline on my end for some reason. So let me know if you could see that. Oh yeah, okay.
Yep.
This is the symbol that I'm going to be using whenever an audiobook collection is complete.
Oh,
And
so the claws of Wolverine.
no, they're not actually. It's not Wolverine. In fact, I mean, if you could see briefly, they're like upside down crosses, but they're this is not an official symbol. It's actually kind of more pagan related.
Huh.
So it's more pagan related than actually satanic. But I liked it so much, and also has a very gothic look to it. So I liked it so much that I decided to adapt it as the symbol, and it became like whenever I share out when an audiobook collection is completed, it basically would basically make people like share it out kind of like as if it is a real murder case, like basically sharing it out saying the scary stories host has struck again. And you know and it would not and I would make this symbol is actually from the book that I got it from. But since then, I've started making my own versions of it. So there's also different variations. Like some have the white look, some of them are white, some of them are red to give a more menacing look to it. You're going to see different versions of it when I start making the announcements of the audiobooks that are officially completed. And
Nice.
I find it interesting what Sarah just said. It looks like a different alphabet vibe. It kind of does. The one on the monster. You know what? I didn't even think it does. It does kind of look a little bit like the Monster Energy drink clock cans. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, like you said, Sarah, like Nick has the serial killer basement vibe. Me, like I've had a few people who said that my background here is like a art collector vibe. I mean, they're not that far off. I mean, right here, I feel like that's what film really is to me, art. And I like having a background where it feels like I'm surrounded by art. And including the poster of the movie that inspired me to study film, and not to mention that I'm sitting in my grandpa Don's work chair, and he spent his whole life as a freelance artist.
Right. Right. So it's like we're surrounded by like different environments. So and I actually was telling. That's a reminder too. I actually do have to get a few photo shots down here as my character later this week because again, I'm actually going to try to start making my calling card starting this Friday. But the reason why I'm actually going to need a little bit of help. In fact, Rochelle even said she'd be willing to help me out with getting the pictures taken because my other difference too, and you've seen this before, is where I'm going to be kind of doing stuff like this as if I'm summoning dark powers because I'm going to be adding animation to the pictures.
Oh, thanks, Nikki.
Now I'm not sure what Sarah he's saying. No, Don looks like that.
Looks like what?
Trying to figure. I don't know. I don't know if it was. Not sure what she means by that. She would. Oh, and Sarah also interesting said I would make the claw mark shaped as an S. Oh, I get it. Yeah, S like for scary stories. Yeah,
Not a bad idea.
possible.
Yeah.
Though I actually, believe it or not, I even have made Don's pendant. Okay.
Oh, you mean here? Yep. My pennant I originally created as like a symbol for strength against bigotry, and
Yeah, if I was to make
and it resembles my first initial.
yeah, if I was to make something like that in this case with the same symbol, it would essentially just be for decoration for the character, and that's pretty much it.
Next background reminds me of a series.
Real killer's
Oh
principal's
my
office.
god. Oh,
That's an interesting way to put it. But I actually do have that symbol like on two T-shirts that I
yeah.
did make. I did get custom made, though they're essentially the same thing. I just got only two because one is a short sleeve and then the other one's a long sleeve. So I was putting one, for both of the seasons. One for the warm season, hot season, the other for the cold.
Nice. Oh, Sarah, I just remembered. I forgot to mention this. This pendant. My brother-in-law made this for me when I served as a groomsman at my sister's wedding. Yeah, he crafted it out of solid bronze.
Haven't decided if I was going to make something like that, like what mine would be. Although I think mine would probably be more silver. I would think. If Don goes missing, Nick, don't do it. I like
Oh
that.
my god. Nope, I'm not going missing. Don't worry.
I actually, no, I was trying to think of someone who was joking with that, but I can't remember what it was. But I'm sure it'll come back to me eventually.
Yep. Oh yeah. So, what do I think about the Mummy? It is gruesome yet gripping. I mean, it's definitely a thrill ride. I mean, but it's definitely not for those who have a weak stomach. I will say that.
Sarah. Don goes missing. Nick made new calling cards. Well, my symbol, like I said, that's more for the scary stories books. I can tell you that right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm not doing blood donation right now.
Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
it's like horrific as this movie was. It did have a satisfying ending.
It did. I mean, I remember like I think I probably wasn't the only one. Like, I think everyone really enjoyed what happened and loved seeing that person get it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like for me, like as far as horror films, like as far as female villains in horror movies, like that I've seen in theaters, probably one of the most satisfying comeuppances was Miss Carmody in The Mist.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I hated her with a passion.
Not only that, she was just annoying as hell.
She was. She thinks she's representing the Lord's will. No, because she's pretty much like trying to like paint a picture of the Lord being just a vengeful monster out to get everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah, like that. No, that's not the Lord. It's like I'm Catholic, and like that's it's like I feel like the Catholic Church would definitely be offended by her views.
yeah. I think
Yep.
they would. I
Yeah,
think they
yeah,
would. Something tells me too. She probably is that person who's probably been banned from church premises.
I would probably more than likely. And yeah, seriously, like I spent like most of the time in the movie just thinking, oh God, Miss Carmody, shut the hell up.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I've commented before, Nick, that I felt what I felt like doing like halfway through the movie was just going out and finding the manager of the theater and just being like, okay, I'm watching The Mist, this new Stephen King movie in your theater right now, and there's just this one character that's completely insufferable called Miss Carmody, and I just cannot stand her. Now,
Yeah, yeah.
now I don't want to I don't want a refund for the movie. What I would like to do is give you everything I have in my wallet, and in return, you grant me this one-time privilege where anytime I see Miss Carmody on the screen, I can just allowed to run up and punch the hell out of it just for this one film. It'll be so worth it to me.
Right. By the way, real quick, I love the comments. Like Nikki's like, "What have I started?" Sarah's like, "Run, run, Don, run!"
Oh man.
Run, Don, run. Oh, I almost said run, Forrest,
I
run.
know. I know.
Hey, let me just tell you right now. My mom always told me that life's like a box of chocolates.
Oh man.
I can't do it as good as I told you. That there's a guy I know named Ricky Hellard. He could actually do it better.
Oh,
If
no.
Ricky Hellard was on, he'd definitely do a better better one than I could.
Oh yeah, Forrest Gump, definitely one of Robert Zemeckis' finest.
Yeah, definitely is.
Oh yeah, it's right up
But
there
it
with.
was all, but at the end, it was all about Jenny.
Yeah, it's definitely right up there with Castaway, with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I've
Yeah.
followed quite a bit of Robert Zemeckis' work.
Oh, and by the way, I didn't. I just saw what Nikki just had message said. I thought you forgot the candles with the cake, actually, but that makes sense. Good idea. At least you remembered the cake. Someone was like, "Happy birthday! We got the cake,
Oh yeah,
candle, but we
and
got." She's like, "Oh, sugar, what have I?" She asked the same thing. What have I started?
yeah. And it was not just any cake; it was the chocolate cake from Portillo's, a local. It's a local fast food like a chain that we have here in Chicago, and they have just about everything: hot dogs, burgers, oh man, ribs, like almost anything. And their chocolate cake is
Oh, out of.
effing delicious. It's effing delicious. I love it.
I thought Portillo's was like throughout the entire country, or
Is
was it
it?
just a
I
Chicago
was.
thing?
I thought it was a local thing. Here, wait a minute.
Sarah says she knows Portillo's.
Here, I guess I never see them anywhere else outside of Chicagoland. Let's see. Founded in Villa Park. Yeah, that adds
Yeah.
up. Based in the Chicago area, specializing in Chicago-style foods such as hot dogs, Maxwell Street Polish, and Italian beef. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I think it's mainly a Chicago thing.
Yeah, I'm actually looking it up. The same, the probably actually, in fact, the same way. Okay, so yeah, well, there are a few in a few other spots, but not very many.
Oh, they're expanding.
Oh, yeah. There are 6 locations each in the Phoenix metropolitan area and the Dallas Fort Worth metroplex. 4 locations each in Central Illinois and the Indianapolis metropolitan area. 3 locations each in the Minneapolis St. Paul metropolitan area. Tampa metropolitan area and Greater Orlando, so basically in Florida. 2 locations each in the Milwaukee, Madison Madison metropolitan areas, Metro Detroit, and Southern California, and 1 location each in South Bend, Metro Atlanta, Fort Wayne, Quad Cities, and Tucson.
Yeah, diabetes on a plate. Yeah, if that's only if you have it often. Me, I only have Portillo's like every once a month or so.
Just eat, yeah.
Oh yeah, Al's beef is good too. I like Al's beef.
Al's beef is good. The only problem is it's expensive as hell.
Yeah, it can be.
I mean, you got to pay like $25, like even just for like a simple meal there. It's insane.
Oh yeah.
Just eat a deep dish. That's what we. Yeah, that's probably what we would do too, Sarah.
Yeah, Lou Malnati's or Giordano's. Both are essential. Yeah, I grew up on Lou Malnati's, as I've said many times on my channel.
And actually, I correct myself. I know I said like the rivalry we've had with deep dish between Chicago and New York. I know I said that it's been going on since the '60s. Actually, I did some history research, and that's actually gone even further. The rivalry we've had with the deep dish, who's got the best deep dish pizza here in the country, is that rivalry we've had with New York City. That's been going on actually since the '40s. So it's even gone further back, even before my parents were even born. Been going probably even back during the days of World War II. So yeah, it's been going. This is a rivalry that's been going on for over 80 years or so.
Not surprised.
So and still going, and of course, obviously, as we all know, I mean, we've had our share rivalry that still goes on to this day, over 80 years later.
Yep. And now Detroit style pizza's on the rise. With Jets Pizza, good stuff.
Yeah, but Detroit is. I would always describe Detroit as like kind of in the middle, like caught in the crossfire of this long-standing rivalry we've had between Chicago and New York City.
Yeah.
Yeah, like comparing tigers and lions. Yeah, those are 2 different. Yeah.
Pretty much. Oh man. So, yeah, The Mummy. It's I gotta say this is a fairly decent take on it. But again, watch this movie with caution because it does have pretty disturbing elements to it.
Yeah, like I said, do not expect it as like an official remake from the earlier films. It's something completely different. So, Yeah, it's incredibly dark. Let's just put it that way.
It is. What's upcoming? I wanted to leave it the next one up to the group in FearFans, but if we can't get anything from them, yeah, Nick, if you want to decide the next one, please do.
Well, I was actually going to bring this up while we were on the show as a reminder, and I know I haven't sent an invite to you yet, Don, because I'm still waiting on the location. So the location for this is to be announced, but we got another movie screening coming up this Friday. It's another anniversary screening, and it's just for one day on Friday,
Yep.
and that is Cabin Fever, the original one from 2002.
Oh man.
Now
Yeah.
that movie is just, oh my god, that was one that really scared the hell out of me when I first saw it. And
Yeah.
how ironic too, because it was also at that time when I was just starting high school. So it was also like, even though the kids in the movie are college aged, still I'm at an age where it's I mean, as we all know, it's a time when when we're at that age now where we're trying to date girls and go to dances and go like get your first kiss and everything that you're supposed to like have as a teenager.
Yeah.
I can tell you that kind of affected me greatly. That movie kind of affected me greatly on some of those expectations, as an early high school student. It's like, jeez, like
Got
man,
oops up there. Big northern big city folk and hood and gutter as hell too. No wonder y'all been beefing up.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But it's like, yeah, not only was this like considered to be one of Eli Roth's most memorable films, but also I was surprised when I first saw it. I was surprised to learn that Ryder Strong, who played Sean Hunter in Boy Meets World, is in
Yep.
it.
Even Eli Roth had said that, which I mean I'm going to save it for when we do eventually talk about it, but I will at least say this. Eli Roth basically said that they were so happy to work with the actors, and especially like someone like Ryder Strong. And he said in an interview once, like saying, "Now, as you know, Ryder Strong was in Boy Meets World, and if you hated Boy Meets World, you're gonna love seeing Ryder Strong get tortured in this movie."
Oh wow.
So, and of course, also, I'm gonna save this when we eventually talk about it, but there is kind of a shred of truth to that movie, believe it or not. But like I said, I'll save it when we eventually talk about it. But yeah, the bottom line is what I'm saying is that, yeah, we are going to be seeing it this upcoming Friday. It's only playing at a few selected AMC theaters for one night and one night only, and one time only too at 8 o'clock. So, we were, yeah, Don, I was going to say just to give you, I would have sent it a theater night invite already, but I actually have the invite ready to go. We just
Yeah, the thing is it happening this Saturday?
no, not Saturday. It's on Friday.
Friday. Okay. Yeah, because I was about to say Saturday. I have a date.
Oh, you got oh I if you don't mind me asking, how did the first one go?
It went great. Yeah, we both had a good time.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good to hear.
I'm not gonna put out too much info, but yeah, we went to a comedy club and yeah, it was great.
That's good. I'm happy for you, Don. Good for you.
Thanks.
Well, and also too, Saturday would not work. Again, that's why. Well, now there's another reason why Friday would probably work for most of us because I will not be available myself for Saturday. I mean, I think you were given the invite, but because you have this date, that's understandable. Me and some of the other friends, we actually got to attend a graduation dinner later that evening. So we got to. It's for Kirsten, in fact.
Ah.
So I'm sure you got invited to it, but that's what they were talking about when we were over at your place the other night. But since you already had something going on, of course, obviously we don't. So yeah, the bottom line is that Saturday night would have not worked out for either of us because you got your date, I got this graduation dinner along with the other friends that we're going to, and but also like I said, too, Cabin Fever is only just playing for one night only anyway, so it would not even be playing on Saturday to begin with. Therefore, we're going to go see it on Friday. I've kind of been more or less kind of letting Rochelle, if you will, decide like what would be the best location for us to go to because this time when we looked at the screenings of Cabin Fever, where only 4 theaters within our general area were showing it, and that was either those theaters were just in case you were wondering, Thankfully, I took screenshots of it, so give me just a second here. So,
Of course.
yeah, give me a second here while I'm getting it. The theaters that are showing, again, it doesn't matter what time it, because again, they're all the same time, like it was with Evil Dead.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, all at 8 o'clock. So we're still deciding whether we're going to go to AMC Northbrook, AMC Northbrook or Woodfield or Skokie Village Crossing once again, or Galewood. Although I think that's a little bit further out. So I got a feeling it's probably going to be the first aforementioned three. Rochelle was going to make her decision Rochelle was going to make her decision by tomorrow. So I have the invite, like I said, already put together. I just haven't sent it out yet because I'm just waiting on the location. So everything is pretty much all set and ready to go. It's just the location that's to be announced. So I probably will know and should be able to send that invite out by tomorrow.
Sounds good.
And
Alright,
I'm not
so
sure. I just want to say I'm not sure what Sarah means. I miss Nick's meandering.
I don't know.
I don't. I I have no idea what Sarah means by that, but okay.
All right. So that's gonna be it for this edition of the Fear Fans podcast. Again, The Mummy. It's not half bad, but definitely watch. Prepare yourself before you go see it.
Yeah, it's not going to be like what you think it is.
Right.
So, but yeah, we'll get back to you guys as soon as possible once we decide on what movie we're going to decide. So, Cabin Fever is a possibility, considering we're going to see that this Friday.
Right.
But we'll think it over.
For sure. All right. So yep, that's it. That's it for Fear Fans. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button if you did, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. And we will see you guys. I'll be back on the live stream playing more Assassin's Creed 4. So I'm pumped about that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good night, everybody.
Yep. Have a good night.